We're getting ready for a big matchup in Jordan-Hare Stadium. 7th-ranked Auburn hosting 12th-ranked LSU. Brody Miller from NOLA.com, our SEC insider this week, joins me now to discuss this matchup. And through 2 weeks of football here, LSU getting a big win over Miami to start the season, and then, of course, a shutout 31-0 against Southeastern Louisiana in week 2 of the season. What you've seen so far, what are some of the biggest things that have impressed you about this football team?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing that's definitely impressed me with LSU is just, the defense, which was always the expectation, when you have one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in football in Dave Aranda and so much returning talent. You always figured that was the case, but it's definitely kind of exceeded some of those expectations. We heard that, in past years, Dave Aranda kind of had 4 or 5 defenses he would ran pretty base. This year, he has reportedly put in 45 to 50 new defensive sets this year. And we apparently have only scratched the surface of the different things he's going to use. So you're seeing a lot of creativity. You're seeing safeties work as linebackers and cornerbacks work as safeties. And all these guys are kind of just moving around right now. And, you saw against Miami that this defense really does have a chance to be one of the best in the country.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people are pointing to in this matchup with Auburn. Both defenses having outstanding units up front. A game that could potentially be won in the trenches. Now, on the flip side of that, some of the deficiencies, what have you seen that they really need to clean up if they want to get out of this Week 3 matchup with a win?
I think the main thing they definitely need to clean up is the offensive line issues right now. They are definitely problematic. You have, Southeastern Louisiana, an FCS team, just dominating LSU in the pass rush. You had, top-level right tackles just getting beat one-on-one by FCS opponents. So, Joe Burrow hasn't had much time in the pocket, and then when he does have time in the pocket, he's struggling to find guys open. Receivers are struggling to get open. So that pass game as a whole right now has a lot of issues going on, and no one at LSU is going to sugarcoat it. It's something they really need to fix quickly. So, I think that's definitely the priority right now, and I think it'll be really interesting to see what they try to do to adjust against an Auburn defensive front that, as you know, is one of the best in football.
And you, of course, got to add in the environment of this matchup in, this football game. Jordan-Hare Stadium, obviously a very tough place to play. Inexperience coming in at quarterback can certainly play into the mix in this one. So that brings me to my third and final question here. When you look at this matchup and obviously the implications that it has early in this divisional race for the SEC West, this is kind of an interesting matchup. Last year, Auburn goes to LSU. They get out ahead. Obviously, LSU coming back from a 20-point deficit to win that one. LSU has won the last 7 of the 10 games against Auburn. Overall, how big of a win will this be for Ed O and the LSU Tigers?
Yeah, it's hard to deny how big a win this would be. I think the understanding was always, with this Auburn and LSU, I would say, have probably the 2 toughest schedules in the country. So for LSU, it was always understood that this is a tough schedule, and the over/under predictions were at 7 wins for this team, or 7.5 wins. So I think it was always like, if you can win one of those first 2 games against Miami and Auburn, it's probably a success for LSU. And so if they somehow pull out 2 top 10 wins the first 3 weeks, while the offense isn't looking exactly great, things will be it'll be a chipper day in Baton Rouge. Ed Orgeron will have bought himself a lot of time, one would imagine.
Yeah, looking forward to this matchup. 2:30 kickoff at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Thank you so much, Brody Miller, for all your SEC LSU insight, and for all your updates. You can visit us on AL.com and NOLA.com. This video was brought to you by Caliber, a luxury store in Homewood, Alabama that's reviving the finer things in hunting and fishing.